Hello and welcome to the I Must Ask You a Question show. I'm Tim Nichols.
And I'm Jim Bardwell, back again.
We're glad to have you back, Jim. I know that, I tell you what, if you caught the show last week, I did my best to handle it on my own, and I hope you enjoyed it. But we are so glad to have Jim back, kind of my conversational partner here.
Well, that's right. That's right. And I'm glad to be back, Tim. And, sometimes in life we're presented opportunities to find a deeper appreciation of the simple things in life. And there's nothing like a little illness of the body to make you appreciate when you do not have illness of the body. So I'll just put it that way. I'm feeling much better today and glad to be back in the saddle.
All right. We're glad to have you back. And of course, today we're talking about marketing rhythm. And, in thinking about how to introduce this, I thought of the term nanovibronics. Are you familiar with that?
I am, Tim. I am, yes.
Tell us what you know about it.
Well, the entire universe is vibration. The proof of the universe can be proven through vibration. And that vibration can do everything from, if you look at an earthquake, an earthquake can move a continent, right? The vibration of those tectonic plates hitting together and shaking and rattling. In my own personal life right now, one of the things I'm dealing with, sometimes the way they deal with the issue that I have is through vibration therapy. Did you know that? They do. They use that.
I didn't know.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so yeah, very familiar with it. There are people that believe that it has the power to heal. It certainly has the power to communicate. Again, you can take a scientific measuring device and connect it to a rock, and it has a vibration, something that we think that is inanimate, that is just, it's a rock. It's just sitting there, right?
Right.
If you get down to a molecular level, everything is moving around and creating a vibration, right?
Right.
So it's important. And the thing that's important about it, the right vibration can heal. The wrong vibration can harm.
Right. Right.
You can
really, I guess I did know about what you're saying, because the cats, in my study of it, cats purr to heal themselves.
Right.
And then you see cats lay back to back because their vibronics heal one another.
Yes.
And the more of them that are laying there, the better it gets, the faster they heal. So I found that all very fascinating. So in today's topic, what is your marketing rhythm? I've got my ideas of how that applies. And you mentioned the vibrations being able to heal or to harm. What are your thoughts on that and how it applies to marketing rhythm?
Well, everything is rhythm and everything is vibration. And again, we've all experienced so I know when I was a young person, I studied music, right? Right. And they realized that certain types of music, that create a rhythm, right? Everybody heard the rhythm of music, right?
Right.
That it aligns with our heart rate and we find it pleasurable. Now, you say, well, what genre was that, Jim? Doesn't matter the genre.
It doesn't.
Whether it's rock and roll or rhythm and blues or Southern gospel, or it didn't matter. It was a rhythm. Now, pop music, in other words, popular music that they produce in effort to sell lots and lots of records, just showed my age there, right? Records. Anyway, to sell lots and lots of music, almost always, without a doubt, if you were to sit down with a music teacher, he would explain to you that this rhythm aligns with the natural rhythm of the body, and people find it pleasurable. If you've ever listened to certain types of music and you feel uncomfortable, if it's just going, you're going, oh my gosh. Well, because that's not the rhythm of your body, right? Now, certain people appreciate that, but we all know it. We can feel it, Tim. We can feel when something is in rhythm and when something is not. And so when it comes to marketing and advertising, I prescribe to my friends 38 Special. They gave me some good advice when I was a young man, and they told me to hold on loosely, but don't let go. Hold on loosely, but don't let go. And so with marketing and even advertising, but certainly with relational marketing, That's exactly the relationship I try and establish with my marketing I want them to feel a certain rhythm to it that is comfortable, but not a rhythm that becomes uncomfortable, or the worst would be burdensome, right? The worst thing you want to have happen is one of your prospects or clients go, oh boy, there's that Tim again. I tell you, that guy, I mean, he just won't turn me loose, won't let me go. I've heard it all, Tim. I don't need to hear it again. You know, you don't want to be there. No. Better they don't hear from you at all than you start drawing up that kind of feeling.
Right. Well, and a lot of it, even I'd say from a standpoint of top of mind awareness too. So I feel like we always need to be broadcasting at some certain rhythm as far as how often we're reaching out to our people and things like that. But we have to let them tell us their heartbeat, right? It doesn't matter if it's through in-person events, if it's through social media, if it's through emails or anything like that, phone calls even. I think we have to establish a rhythm that aligns with their heartbeat, because if we don't, we've got a problem. Then you're playing hard rock at an old folks home. And so we've got to align with their rhythm. And I think so many times in marketing that the marketers themselves, they want to say, well, hey, this is on my schedule. I need to market when I'm available, when I can do something. And really the prospect or even your customer is going to tell you what they like the best if you look at your analytics. You know, if you track things, how many phone calls or emails or your open rates, your social media analytics, all of that is going to tell you when they like to be marketed to, when they open things and stuff like that, and what they like to open. Because you could have a written blog and they may hate that, but they may love YouTube videos.
That's right.
You know, you've got to test it.
And of course, that rhythm's going to be dependent on too is where you're at in the relationship. So if I am absolutely cold to an audience, I mean cold, they don't know me from Adam. They never met me. They don't know me. They don't know my product. They don't know my goods, my services. Then, you know, my rhythm is going to be driving back and forth in front of their house with a loudspeaker, right? Hey, what you need in your life is Jim Bardwell. Jim Bardwell's the best thing you've ever had. And I promise you, if you ever give him a try, you'll certainly will. Call 281-549-7975. And you just drive back and forth. And you're just broadcasting. That's the rhythm you've got. You just put it out there. I think where people get in trouble is they forget that once you start that relationship, once you get past that point and you do get a response, I've noticed that companies sometimes do this poorly. They don't switch them into the next stage. So in other words, someone's already done trade with you, already done business with you, and you're still hounding them with, hey, you need to know Jim Bardwell. Jim Bardwell's the greatest thing in the world. They're like, I know that. I know Jim Bardwell's the greatest thing, right? You don't need to sell me anymore. Okay. Right. And I think people got to keep that in mind. Rhythm is about making sure that song that you're singing, even though it's the right rhythm, it's a pleasing to a human heartbeat, right? They'll get tired if you sing the same song over and over again. They get tired of the words. They get tired of the lyrics. And so I'm sure there's some of your listeners. I know I've been exposed to that, where I've done trade with somebody, and yet I'm still on that same email list of, hey, you should try this out. I've already tried it out. I mean, we're past that, right?
Right.
And I've seen people that do it well. I've seen people that, as a matter of fact, someone that does it well is my friend Howard Partridge. You know, he has a certain set of emails that go out to what he prospects, just never, come on to one of my conferences, give this a shot, give this a try. Once you've been to one of his conferences, you don't get those emails anymore.
Right.
Because that would be redundant. You've already been there. Now it's more of a warm touch. Hey, Jim, it's been a while since we saw you. I know you enjoyed the last time you came out. Come see us again. you know. And that becomes work, doesn't it, Tim? That becomes a little trickier. That becomes making sure that those clients end up in the right funnels and getting the right information. So
yeah. I think another tricky part is determining which style to use to maintain the rhythm. Like, for instance, you mentioned, Howard, the emails, and really email funnels are one thing, but then trying to set up social media, whether you're doing like a live stream show like ours, or whether you're doing YouTube videos, could be even just like LinkedIn videos, or like the impromptu Facebook lives or something along those lines, or articles that you write. It's important to try to figure out who is tuning in to what. We can always be broadcasting like a radio station, but we have to pay attention to who's tuning into us and
That's
how
right.
to get more of those people who are currently tuning into us.
And sometimes, and I know we're talking about rhythm, we're talking about establishing a rhythm, we're talking about repetitiveness, we're talking about doing something over and over so people get accustomed to that rhythm, right?
Right.
Every once in a while, though, it's also a good idea to turn on that hard rock music and make sure people are listening.
Right.
You know what I mean? To actually upset the rhythm.
You can lull them to sleep. Is that what you're saying?
You're used to seeing your email every Tuesday, and it's the same thing every Tuesday, same email, about the same time, because you hired a company that sends out an email for you every Tuesday every Monday night at midnight, so they get it in their inbox every Tuesday morning. Maybe you do need to change that up. That maybe sometimes playing with that rhythm is the key to staying fresh and staying relevant. So many times these calls, Tim, we really get down to one simple philosophy, and that is, are you conscious? Are you conscious of these things? Are these things important to you? Do you pay attention to them? And, so often, especially, Tim, when you and I talked about personalities, and I brought up the fact that I've studied personalities my whole career and hold certifications in personality studies, and certain types of people start businesses, and those are what they call in the DISC profile system. That's called a D personality. Mm-hmm. And one of the traits of a D personality is they want to finish things. In other words,
usually quickly.
Okay, that's done. That's on a shelf. On to the next thing. No, that's done. That's on a shelf. It's done. It's finished. And so they like buying into things. They like setting up systems that happen over and over and over again. And the tricky part about a D personality is maintaining consciousness that this is happening, right?
Right.
And sometimes you'll run into a person that's a very driven person, and they'll be the ones that have those types of marketings which become redundant, that just sit there. It's because to them, they've paid their check, they wrote their check, they paid their money, it's on a shelf, it's happening, I don't have to pay attention to it. That's why you need to make sure that your alphabet soup has a little bit of all those letters in them. You need a crazy wild eye guy that's going to walk in every week and go, oh, but we did that last week. Let's do something different this week. Let's do something new. In rhythm, keep at it, keep sending them stuff, but shake it up a little bit.
Well, and I agree with, especially with the part about setting up your processes. Once you find a rhythm that works, setting up processes where you can think about other things and you can actually be more of a visionary in your own business. And listeners, I encourage you to ask questions or make comments, share your stories in the comments. We'd love to hear, and we'd love to even hear who you are and where you're from. So please join us there. But
I had a friend of mine one time that had a small business, and he had received some advice. And this shows how long ago this has been, although I think they're still relevant in certain industries. But he had received advice that he should send out postcards. He should do postcards. Okay, that's how he was going to blow up his business, was postcards. And he should send postcards once a month. Send out postcards once a month.
Right.
So he circled back around about 8 months later and says, man, I tell you, I'm spending a lot of money on these postcards. And first time I sent them out, we got a few phone calls and everything. The next time I sent them out, we got a few less phone calls. I said, man, I'm not getting any phone calls at all. And the person said, well, let me see the postcards you're sending out. And he proceeds, he said, well, this is the first one we sent out. And this is the second one they sent out. It was the exact same postcard. And this is the third one we sent out. It was the exact same postcard. This is the fourth one we sent out. So they forgot to tell him, you got to change the postcard. It's great to have that rhythm of a monthly postcard. That's wonderful. But bless his heart, he was a D personality. He went and bought 20,000 of those postcards, had them printed up, and he's just going to send the same one every month. Well, what do you think those clients felt after about the third one? They got to where they could probably even just out of the corner eye recognize it, and I'm too sure they just threw it in the trash. They don't need it, right? Yep. So rhythm, yes, that's a great idea. Send a postcard every month, but it better be a different one. It better have a different call to action. It better point out a unique service that you offer. It could be the same service, but maybe it's a different point that you want to touch on.
Well, and here's another thing about the rhythm, and something you are bringing up, but I just wanted to clarify, I guess, or just make clear for everyone, is that there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of rhythms being played, right? And if you're not setting yours apart, then you just become part of the noise. So whether it be an email list, like I tell you, newsletters, people want to approach me with newsletters, they get unsubscribed pretty quick. I don't want those crowding my email inbox because I already have a battle going on for my attention in my email inbox in the first place.
Right.
You know, and it can be the same way with social media. It could be the same way with any other marketing that you're talking about. It's easy to become a part of the noise.
Absolutely.
What ideas do you have for setting yourself apart like that? Well,
you need to be different. You need to be unique. You need to be special. Tim, have you ever been and saw a live orchestra?
I have not. I want to.
Yeah, live orchestra, the whole orchestra. I mean, everything, when you're seeing a real orchestra, there ought to be instruments that you can't name.
Right.
Country boys like you and I, that's a violin, and that's a tuba, and then you got to, what the heck is that? I don't even recognize. What is that thing? Then you see a good orchestra, right? They got instruments there. You don't even know which end is which, right? Well, even if person like you and myself, myself and you, we would definitely be considered a lay person, right? We're not we wouldn't understand how all that worked. But what would be funny, I guarantee you we could do it, is if you went and saw a professional orchestra, a beautiful orchestra, huge orchestra with instruments all over the stage, and they started playing a beautiful dun, 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 dun. We'd be like, man, that sounds good. I like that. Also, dun, dun, we'd go, I don't even know what that is, but he's messing up.
Right.
I don't have to have an especially, tune music here to tell if everybody else is playing a certain rhythm, and all of a sudden, he messed up, right?
Right.
And so sometimes that's all you got to do, is you got to mess up on purpose. Sometimes you want to be that. If everybody else is playing perfect, right? Everybody else is putting out the same message. So right now, there must be all these marketing firms out there that have this all sewn up, because right now, I just moved to a new city, and my house is being inundated by all of these postcards from dentists.
Oh.
Okay. And they're huge. They're these big, giant postcards, not a little postcard like that. I'm talking, they're like this. You know the ones I'm talking about, right? And they're expensive. They got to be expensive. They're full color, gloss, front and back. I mean, nice. But every single one of them is the same. Now, it has a different picture, different smiling person, perfect people. You ever wonder why does a dentist send out a postcard with somebody with perfect teeth? Shouldn't he be sending out a postcard with someone with snaggly teeth and nasty teeth and teeth that need help? I mean, perfect teeth, you think that person don't need a dentist, right? And so anyway, they got some beautiful family or nice couple, smile, and everything's perfect. You flip it over, says the exact same thing on the back. Might be a different font, might be a different color, but you ready? I'm going to say it, and you're going to say, yep, that's what mine say. Exact same thing on the back. It says, free exam.
Right.
First-time client, right? Free exam. And then under that, it'll say teeth whitening, normally $2.99, on sale for $99. I don't even read those anymore. I don't look at them. I don't pay attention to them. As soon as they come in, I right into the recycling bin.
But I bet if someone sent you, if a dentist sent you an envelope with some with a fake tooth in it and said, "Is this yours?"
Then I would hear. I say, "Wait, what was that? What in the world? I never heard that noise before." And so that's the key, is that yes, rhythm is fantastic. Rhythm is rhythm can break stone. You can sit there and vibrate a certain vibration on a giant rock, and over time it will bust that rock wide open, right?
That's right.
But sometimes so will a sledgehammer. The rock ain't expecting it, right? Bam, it just hits it. And so sometimes going against the established rhythm of everybody else can be very useful as well. But again, you have to be conscious that rhythm exists.
Right.
See, those dentists probably are just paying some company. They have no idea. They're just writing a check every month. They should be on this call, because maybe they would say, well, I never thought of that. I never thought that I was participating in a rhythm, that I was participating in something that was happening over and over and over again. And I was actually maybe not conscious of the ramifications of that rhythm.
Right. Well, and I think even in a marketing standpoint, people hire, like you brought up the orchestra thing, people hire orchestras. They hire someone to perform that rhythm for them, right? That marketing rhythm.
Correct.
And that's understandable, right? But you're talking about playing off key. That's where disruption comes in. And if we can disrupt the flow of things, right, we can stand out. But then even then, it only for a little while can it be displeasing to their rhythm, their heartbeat, things like that. So yes. I think we still have to maintain our rhythm, and I think we're going to attract people who like our rhythm, but at the same time, we've got to be mindful of who's listening and who's not listening, right, and try to cater to those who will listen.
Exactly. I when I was down in Houston, Texas, this is going back years ago, and I was working with Howard Partridge's company down there, and I was doing marketing and sales for him. And there was this one particular client that he had warned me. He had said, "Look, man, I've called him this guy over and over and over again. I couldn't get past go with him. He's a hard nut to crack. If you want to try, that's fine, but you're not going to get anywhere with this guy." Now the challenge was, Tim, he was the biggest retailer, independent flooring retailer in all of Houston, Texas. Now, Tim, you know what that means. Houston is a big market, and he had a store the size of 2 stories. Imagine a Home Depot that was nothing but flooring. Wow. That's how big this place was. So I wanted it. I wanted that account, right? So I established a rhythm. I started going there twice a month, like clockwork. I established a rhythm because I wanted to show him commitment. I wanted to show him that I was committed to winning over his business. However, I never went in with the same offering twice. I never went in at exactly the same time of day. I never went in with exactly the same personality enhancer. Now, Tim, you know what a personality enhancer is, right?
I have my idea what it is, but you tell me.
Well, down in South Louisiana, we used to have this thing where, the kids would be in the house and underfoot, and the parents say, "Boy, get out there in the yard and play with the dogs." We always had all kinds of hounds out in the yard. Go out there and play with them dogs, right? And sometimes we say, "Boy, that poor little kid, he's not a good looking boy. He's just an ugly little kid." You know what? We had to tie a pork chop around his neck to get the dogs to hang out with him. So that was called a personality enhancer. Okay. And so you have to realize that some of us need more personality enhancement than others. And so what I call a personality enhancement is a gift, is a way of saying, hello, how are you? And I'm gonna reward you for taking these 5 minutes and talking to me. So my personality enhancers might be, I don't know, a box of donuts, a box of chocolates, some flowers. Flowers are a great personality enhancer. Everybody likes flowers. Tim, do you know that even there's not a person on this planet? I saw people, only ladies like flowers. Everybody likes flowers. You know, you bring a bouquet of flowers into a business, people think, wow, that's kind of nice. Flowers cheer everybody up. You know what else cheers everybody up?
Donuts?
No, donuts does it too. But everybody likes balloons.
Okay.
I just let out one of my marketing secrets. I used to go into places with balloons. Have you ever seen somebody walk in a place with balloons? What does everybody do?
Look. Yeah.
Balloons? It must be somebody's birthday. It must be a special occasion. People don't just meander around places with balloons, right?
Right.
And even if it only takes one, but if you had three, it was perfect. 3 balloons. And you just walk in there with 3 balloons tied to a little bag of M&Ms or something, and you set it on that receptionist desk and you say, I just want to come by here this afternoon and tell you how happy I am to come in here and tell you good afternoon. And I'm Jim Bardwell with Clean as a Whistle, and we provide the most outstanding service experience you've ever had. If you just give us one try, we'll prove it to you. Here's my card. Here's some information. Be sure and let the owner know I stopped by and say hello. And that was it. And you get a rhythm, and you start doing crazy stuff like that. Every time it was different, but there was a rhythm to it. You know, about the 27th time I did that, the owner of that company came out, and on his big, he had this big, it was one of those huge atrium type businesses, right, where you got the catwalk around the top, and his office was way at the top. He went out there and said, "Hey, carpet cleaning guy, get up here." You see, I had proved to him through that rhythm of going by there every 2 weeks, boom, 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 over and over and over again, that I was the real deal. I was not fly by night. I wasn't just going to go away. I wasn't just somebody that wanted to make a quick buck and disappear, right?
Right.
But I did it in such a way that was unique. And man, I tell you, we established a relationship with that company that was a fantastic relationship. And they gave us lots of business. He opened his doors to me, became a friend of mine. I got to know him pretty well. And they would have big, giant open houses where they would send out postcards to all their clients and have sales. You know, flooring stores would do that this weekend and weekend only, invitation only. Come out, we're going to have hot dogs and drinks for the kids and all this stuff, a jumpy thing for the kids. This is Texas, man. Everything bigger in Texas, right?
Yeah.
So he would let me set up there in his shop, Tim. Set up in his shop, a little booth, advertising my wares.
That's nice.
So rhythm, there's a payoff. There's a payoff to establishing a rhythm. And then, of course, once that relationship was made, did I just drop him like a hot potato? Did he see that rhythm change? Did he see that rhythm of relationship drop off? You can't do that either. You know, you have to keep that rhythm going.
Yeah, I think that's a challenge for a lot of people is they maybe don't understand what they've been doing actually worked, and they think it worked and I don't have to do it anymore.
Well, that's the tricky part about rhythm, is that once you establish it and people do get used to it. I mean, it's just like we started off this conversation, we're talking about music, you know. You start playing music and then you switch it off. You might not have realized that people are enjoying it. You might have just, thought, oh, they're just taking it for granted. No one's come up to me and complimented me on it or nothing like that. Man, you shut that off. Have you ever done that, Tim? You shut some music off and someone said, oh, man, I was enjoying that. And you thought, I didn't know you were enjoying it. No, you didn't let me know you were enjoying it, So, that's the tricky part about it.
Actually, that's the same way with our show. Because when, I'll say this morning I woke up with a headache. And some days you're like, man, I don't know if I can do follow the rhythm of what I've been doing, right? But at the same time, I hear from so many different people that they might not be watching our show right now, and it may be a week or two later, and they're like, oh yeah, that show about what you did about marketing rhythm or about anything like that, selling hope or any of those, hear back on that and how it affected them. And they might not have had questions or comments to put in, but at the same time, they watched it and it meant something to them. Therefore, our rhythm of the weekly show definitely means something. And so it's fun to hear that and to actually to hear that your rhythm has effect, right? And so
That's right.
you know,
Yeah, I heard all the way from a guy all the way in New Zealand had watched back. I think we had. I think I posted it on my Facebook, one of our shows one time. I had just shared it, and
right.
he said, "Man, these shows are a hoot." And that was somebody in New Zealand. I mean, you just don't know.
That's right. Well, and it granted we have fun doing it too, but and we boost the show, but a lot of times we don't even know who we're impacting and how deeply we're impacting. We could be saving someone's business for all we know, but it's one of those things that, yeah, great. It's good to hear back, but our rhythm means something, no matter what we're doing. So just like you're talking about, even in person, our rhythm means something.
That's right. And that's what it's all about. And again, we come back to what I said earlier, though. If the only takeaway somebody gets from this conversation is that they become conscious of it, they become aware of it, they become to where it is something that they're thinking about, right? Never thought about that. Never thought of it as a rhythm. Never thought of it as creating a vibration. But that's exactly what you're doing.
Yep. That's very true. Very true. Well, what final thoughts do you have for us on that, Jim?
Well, again, I'm going to go back to what I said about my friends with that little band from Jacksonville, Florida, 38 Special. Hold on loosely, but don't let go. Listen, don't let your rhythm drown out your message, okay? But then don't let a lack of rhythm lose your message, right?
Right.
You want to grab their hand in such a way that they feel complimented by it. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you, right? But you don't want to be one of them knuckleheads that decide that every time they shake somebody's hand, it's a time to prove that they can break your knuckles, right? We've all met those guys, right? And nobody likes that. I never understood that. Like who wakes up in the morning and says, "Man, I sure hope I meet somebody that breaks my knuckles today. That's what I want to have happen today. I need my knuckles broke." Right.
Right.
So that's really my final thought on that. And again, consciousness. Be aware of it. Be aware that your marketing rhythm has an effect on people, both positive and negative, and just be aware of it.
Yep. And it helps us maintain top of mind awareness. So they might not be tuned into our message right now, but one day they will be if we maintain that rhythm, and they'll move along with the flow.
That's right.
Thank you for joining us today, our listeners. And I encourage you to continue the conversation in the comments, on the comment section of this. Ask us questions. We're here to answer those for you even after the show is over. And so we also encourage you to click the Learn More button, and we'll have a cheat sheet, free book, or webinar or something like that for you. And let's just keep this conversation going. Join us next Monday at 2:00. And we will have more for you on the I Must Ask You a Question show. And by the way, now I'd like for Jim to share a little bit about Fiber Protector America, and they're one of our sponsors as well as 3 million%. So Jim, would you please tell us a little bit about that?
Certainly, Tim. Thank you so much. So again, I serve as the director of marketing and sales and education for a company called Fiber Protector America. And we import, exclusive importers to North America, a fantastic product from Norway. It is a high-tech, nanotech textile sealant. And most people say, well, what is that? And I ask, well, have you heard of stuff like Scotch Guard or Teflon? And then everybody's heard of that, right? And so our product is in that family. However, our product does it in such a way that is pretty unique. It's pretty different and has some pretty special performance vectors. If you'd like to learn more about the world's most technologically advanced, environmentally friendly protection system, just go to the website is FP, initials only, like Frank Paul, fpamerica.com. That's fpamerica.com.
Thank you for that, Jim. And again, I'm Tim Nichols with 3,000,000%, and we are a peer advisory program. We help business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals learn from each other's victories, challenges, and experiences. And we welcome anyone who is interested in our peer advisory program to join us. And we discuss strategies and tactics as to how do we help businesses grow, especially through relationship marketing. So again, join us next week on our show Monday at 2 o'clock. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye, everybody.